Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Cyril Gane to defeat John Jones. And I'm here to talk about the main event for UFC 297, Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. This is for the middleweight title and all the marbles, as these guys don't like each other. Well, Strickland definitely hates DDP. And yeah, I'm going to call Dricus DDP every now and then. Bang. Sean Strickland is 28-5 as a pro, 32 years old, and he's got the same height and reach as 30-year-old DDP, who has a record of 20-2. Strickland, he's coming off that gigantic victory over Adesanya, one of the best victories ever, and his best victory for sure, where he largely dominated him. And even more impressively than the narrative that's out there that Sean Strickland hurt him in round one and Izzy was never the same, he actually lost round two, Sean Strickland, in that fight. Adesanya looked back to form in round two. He looked really good. And that was after being really, really badly hurt at the end of round one. But then slowly but surely he succumbed to the pressure of Sean Strickland, who did what Strickland does. Marches forward, defends himself with his funky defensive shell, and pressures you. Puts you on your back foot and tries to eat away at your soul as he's moving forward. And Adesanya, after having that strong round two, wasn't able to keep up. He had one good round in him, and after that, again, every round was Sean Strickland's. He kept marching him down. And that's who Strickland is. He's a guy that marches people down. It's one of his strongest traits. That's why he's an excellent point fighter. His decision record is 13-3. Which is excellent, and that includes the Jared Cannonier fight, which was pretty close, to say the least. A 5-round war there. Strickland has 11 TKOs in his 28 wins, 4 submissions, so he's no stranger to finishes, but at the UFC level, generally he's been a point fighter. We did see him knock out Brendan Allen in round 2 on this streak he's been on here. He also knocked out Abasupian Magomedov in the fight before the title, his last fight before the title. That was a great win. And yeah, he's a guy that has below average power, I'd say, for the top middleweights, but he's still a big, strong man. Both these guys have fought at welterweight, by the way. They've both fought at welterweight, but here at middleweight, I think they found their weight classes. They're very comfortable. Here they are fighting for a title. Strickland's got 5 losses. He lost twice by knockout to Alex Pereira's left hand, his left hook. That's somebody you really got to mind your P's and Q's as you're marching him down. And he also got knocked out by Zaleski dos Santos at welterweight with a spinning wheel kick. So it's forgivable there. His other 3 losses all take place in the UFC, and they're all by decision. Ponzinibbio and Kamaru Usman, who are still 2 top fighters, especially Kamaru, and Jared Cannonier, who is in the mix as a contender at middleweight. And again, that fight was really close. 5-round split decision between Sean Strickland and Jared Cannonier. But Sean Strickland, his strengths are his pressure and his cardio, in addition to his boxing. You know, Sean Strickland is relentless, and his durability only helps him because, having the confidence to move forward is what gives him his strength in the first place. And he's able to move forward and take his opponent's shots, receive them well, block them with his little unique shell and his defense, and score once he gets into range, just like he's done to Adesanya and everybody else. Everybody's beaten. Nassourdine Imavov, Jack Hermanson, which was not a split decision. That was fucking horseshit. But here he's fighting a guy in DDP who is much more of a potent finisher. DDP's got 20 wins, 19 finishes, 9 by knockout, 10 by submission. He's been to a decision once, and it was his victory over Brad Tavares, which was very impressive. Tavares himself is an excellent point fighter, and Dricus was able to tame Tavares, had a rough first round, and then took the fight back down the stretch. His 19 wins, again, 9 by knockout, 10 by submission. We've seen that at the UFC level, of course. Most impressively with Robert Whittaker, his last win. He knocked out Robert Whittaker in round 2, and that was a really good performance from him. I thought he won round 1 with physicality, landing a head and arm throw deep into round one and grinding on Robert Whittaker from the top. But Whittaker was still looking good, I thought, in that fight, in round one and even in round two up until the finish. But DDP won round one and finished him in round two. So he looked really good there against the best fighter he's fought and one of the best middleweights in the last 10 years. Ever, I should say. Before that, Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson's a sloppy, vulnerable fighter, but still, he was testing DDP, ripped DDP to the mat, and DDP was able to tame him and get him out of there at the very end of round two. Darren Till, that was another kind of a back-and-forth fight. DDP had a lot of success early on, almost TKO'd Darren, smashed his face like Strickland was smashing Adesanya's face in round one. And then after that, he let Darren Till back into the fight. But in round three, he was the fresher guy. And he ripped Till to the mat and choked him deep into the fight. DDP, he's got deceptively good cardio. He doesn't look like he's got good cardio. He's got the nose thing going on, which he fixed apparently, the deviated septum. But he's one of those mouth breather types, just doesn't look like he's in as good a shape as he is in. But he's in very good shape because he's gotten plenty of finishes deep into the fight. Trevin Giles before that was a round two finish. But his two losses have also come deep into the fight, and they've been finishes. He was finished once by Roberto Soldic, this really good fighter on the European scene, championship-level fighter, and he knocked him out in round three. That was a rematch. DDP actually knocked him out in round two before that. And he was also tapped by former UFC fighter Gareth McClellan. Got him with a guillotine deep into the fight. I think that was also in round three. I've seen it, but I forget which round it was in. But DDP, yeah, he's been finished along the way, but his chin hasn't looked bad at all other than that loss to Soldic, and his submission defense hasn't looked bad at all since that loss to Gareth McClellan, and since then he's been taking out contenders and top fighters left and right. He's 6-7-0 in the UFC. I think he's 6-0, but with 5 finishes or 6 finishes, everything but the Tavares fight. And I think he's proven to me by winning in rounds 2 and 3 multiple times here at the UFC level that cardio is not an issue for him. In most fights, anyway. I could see Sean Strickland making cardio an issue for him if Strickland's able to fight his fight. But I'm taking DDP here. I'm taking DDP. I think he's got more danger. Even on the feet, I think he's got more danger, much harder strikes, a better chance of knocking Sean Strickland silly than Sean Strickland does him. And I also think he's got really good cardio himself, deceptively good cardio, and grappling and physicality and wrestling that could score points effectively against Sean Strickland throughout. I don't think he's going to make this. I think it's going to be much more of a striking battle than a grappling battle, but DDP is the stronger, more physical fighter, and I think and very well-rounded. I think he's got more ways to score points against Sean Strickland. And on the feet, look, Sean Strickland can take over any round with his volume. His volume is excellent, and it's maybe even the biggest weapon between the two of them in this fight. But DDP hits harder, and I think DDP, his power, will score points for him as well on the feet. So I'm taking Dricus du Plessis. Sean Strickland's never been submitted, so I can't expect that. I could see DDP knocking him out the way he's looked, knocking out Whittaker. But even in a decision, I think DDP is very much in the point fight by having more versatility and physicality. And again, some really good cardio. So Sean Strickland, I think if he was more dangerous, I'd be less inclined to pick and bet on DDP. But he's just not that dangerous. You know, his best weapon is his volume, but he doesn't have that danger where he can turn the fight on a dime with one punch or even takedowns and the grappling to take over like that. He's used it here and there, but I can't trust it here in this fight. So I'm taking DDP. He's an underdog, plus 120. I bet on him. And it's not the heaviest bet because I think this is a very close fight. But yeah, I'm going with Dricus du Plessis, South African world champion. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.